Crooked Government and Criminals. And that title probably caught your attention. I know, because it's so outlandish. No, it's not outlandish. It's pretty common these days. We're seeing it a lot in the world. And it's funny because when I first started to add that to my Hernandez series, that whole concept, I remember there was one point where George is saying to Paige, which the main characters, George is the main character, and he said, you know, you here in Canada, you think you're a little better. He kind of doesn't word it like that. Basically saying, you know, from a Mexican perspective, you know, yeah, we know our government's crooked, but don't think yours isn't. And I wrote that at the time and thought, oh, yikes. Like, that seems a little extreme. Now time has went by and I went, yeah, it's probably true. It's probably true. And not to pick at any specific government. I think a lot of governments, I don't care if you're right, left wing, I don't care. There's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes. We've seen that in the last couple of years throughout the world. And before that, but specifically. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion, which it's just my opinion. But anyways, I put it in my books because I show how somebody like George Hernandez, who is a criminal, comes from a criminal background, influences the government, how he worked his way in, how he takes control, how he pressures, bullies, does whatever he has to do to get things the way he wants it, to control things from behind the scenes. I know, isn't that crazy? Can you imagine that happening? But yeah, so I do that, and I think it's art reflecting reality quite often. And I just feel like that's important to me. I think it's important to put that in books. You know, I don't write fantasy books. I wrote a couple, but I mean, I don't write fantasy like, you know, Happier Ever After and all that kind of stuff, because my writing for me has always been a reflection of what's going on in the world. And you're going to see that with my next book, especially the last mentions of Big Pharma. Actually, Big Pharma is in a lot of my books. That's one of the protagonist's main nemesis is Big Pharma, because he basically, well, he does in the books own all the cannabis stores throughout Canada. He took over the marijuana industry, the retail business in Canada. So of course that's his nemesis. He wants people to take that approach as opposed to the medical. But he also, there's a little thing about that bothers him. And actually, I'm going to talk about that in another video. But corrupted governments, crooked governments, and criminals. So do you think that's a thing? Do you think that's just a myth? Do you think that really happens? Do you think criminals have a lot of influence? Do you think criminals could? Do you think a mob boss, do you think a cartel guy could get in there and have influence? Do you think that's happened? Of course it has. But, you know, do you think that is... I've actually joked in the books, and George talks about a lot, how if he wanted to, he could become prime minister. And he has no doubt about it. He knows the game. He knows how to play it. Could that happen? Could an actual criminal get elected? Somebody who's... And when I say criminal, not just a white-collar criminal, like a criminal, like the kind that's done big-time crimes. Could that happen? I don't know. It's an interesting concept. I enjoy writing about it and kind of putting that out there. So what do you think? And like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It all helps me. I'm an unknown, nobody cares about me writer. So if you can help me, that would be great. Thank you guys. Have a great day.